Hey guys, you're watching Dansky, the place to be to develop your creative skills. We've got another product review video coming up right now. I'm reviewing this beast here, the PD3200U from BenQ. Let's get started. Rightio, first up, before we take a deeper dive into everything about this monitor, let's look at some features. So with this monitor that's definitely geared towards professionals, we've got a 32-inch 4K IPS display packing a huge resolution of 3840 by 2160. The refresh rate on the display is 60 Hz and it also has a matte anti-glare coating. The display covers 100% of the sRGB color spectrum and also supports 10-bit color and Rec 709. Each display is also color calibrated to meet Technicolor standards, and the calibration report is included in the box, which is doubling up as a coffee coaster at the moment. So yeah, multifunctional. And if you're more into photography, there's also the SW series of monitors that are definitely worth checking out and linked below in the description. So for me, working as a designer for many years and now a content creator, color accuracy is something that is and has always been of the utmost importance. Like, can you imagine, or maybe you can, working on a display that isn't color accurate and you design something and it looks perfect on your screen, only to have it print completely differently and your client go, yeah, we'll need to redo this. Like, can you imagine how frustrating that would be? I can. True story. And of course, there's so many different devices out there and they all display color slightly differently. But if you're working on a correctly color calibrated monitor, it just gives your work the best chance of being as consistent as possible across as many devices as possible. So color calibration, incredibly important. Next, let's take a look at the ports. In the middle at the bottom, we have the power input, 4 USB 3 ports, an audio line import, and a micro USB port for the included multifunctional hotkey puck. And still in the middle, but on the left side, we have a mini display port, one full-size display port, and 2 HDMI ports. Lastly, on the right, we have 2 more USB 3 ports, a 3.5mm headphone jack, and a slot for an SD card reader. One thing I'd love to see on the next iteration of this monitor is a slightly more minimal design, particularly on the rear of the monitor, with some of those ports just being packed a little bit closer together, just so they're not as spread out. But yeah, in terms of ports, this monitor literally has everything that I'm ever going to need. And looking at the body of the display, this thing is an absolute beast. It's made from a hard plastic and feels incredibly durable, and the stand is made from metal. The bezels around the edge of the display aren't the thinnest I've seen, but the huge amount of screen real estate balances quite nicely in terms of the screen to body ratio. We've also got a relatively clean front panel with some subtle controls in the lower right corner to access settings for the display. Some of these settings include changing color profiles, among other things, and you can also use the dual view function to display 2 different color profiles at the same time, one on each half of the display, and this essentially eliminates the need for 2 separate displays. And these profiles can be easily switched between using the included hotkey puck. There's also something called a KVM switch to display the contents from 2 PCs using just 1 keyboard and mouse. So pretty handy to save all that jumping back and forth and you don't get peripherals flying everywhere. Just 1 keyboard, 1 mouse, we're good to go. The display is also fully adjustable and you can adjust things like tilt, swivel and height, as well as rotating the entire display 90 degrees. And BenQ have also included a sturdy carry handle. And I've got to be honest, a carry handle on a monitor isn't something I thought that I needed until I used this monitor that has one. So from a designer's perspective, this monitor with its huge screen and resolution is big enough to fit 2 or more apps on screen at full size, and you can work on them simultaneously and you don't need to squint at the screen. And from a content creator perspective, I love the fact that I can have a full-size 1080p preview in something like Premiere Pro if I'm video editing, but also in Premiere Pro, I can have all my panels on screen at once. I don't need to keep switching between workspaces if I need a particular panel. They're all there, all the time, ready to go. Now for me personally, I'm someone who predominantly uses laptops. I might be working at home, a coffee shop, here in the studio, and when I'm here in the studio, I will always be connecting up to an external display. And I'm someone who's just personally not a fan of the whole multi-display setup. Like, I totally get it, it looks cool, it's probably really helpful as well, but I just find that I have to keep reorganizing my windows every time I connect or disconnect my laptop. Just give me one single monitor to work on and make it bloody huge. And this is that. Rightio, that concludes my review of the PD3200U monitor from BenQ. If you've got any questions or comments, please do drop them down below. If you'd like to check out the monitor for yourself, I'll add a link in the video description too. And also a huge thank you to BenQ for sending me this monitor for this video. It's an absolute beast. I love it. But anyway, that's it from me. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Take care and I'll see you next time.